Greetings, fellow humans. Katrina here. Quick disclaimer, I'm a professional. I'm not your professional. Anything I'm about to say should not be taken as medical, legal, or otherwise advice. This podcast is purely for entertainment and amusement. Disclaimer over. So today I thought I'd talk a bit about changing emotions. And not all of the ways, I don't even know all of the ways, but there are several different ways to change what we're feeling. And a lot of people want to feel better, but don't necessarily know what that better would be. Or we say we want to be happy, but we don't know what happy would look like. So having an idea of what things would entail, thoughts, behaviors wise, can give you an idea of what you want to be feeling. But let's say that we're trying to reduce the intensity of an unpleasant emotion. That's what I want to talk about. Okay, so if we're looking at reducing the intensity, there's three ways, probably more. Don't quote me on that, but the three ways that come to mind to reduce the intensity of an intense emotion are interpretation, biology, so the biological changes, and the expressions of our emotions. Theoretically, if we change one of those, then the intense emotion being experienced will be alleviated and sometimes even replaced with a more pleasant emotion. So let me explain emotions just a little bit. There are vulnerability factors, okay? Things that make us more vulnerable to intense emotions. I like to remember that acronym HALT. Hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. If we're any of those things, then something that might be a minor inconvenience can actually feel like a catastrophic event. So if we're looking at changing just the biology, like I said, you can change the interpretation biology or the expression of the emotion, but let's look at the biology today. So one of the ways to change our biology is through a method called TIP, and that's a method that was developed by Marsha Linehan in her big dialectical skills training and handouts workbook. And this one is actually on page 329 of that big workbook. But I'll go ahead and give you the tip. The T stands for tip the temperature of your face with cold water. And it can be just splashing your face with cold water. But if you really want to experience the change in temperature, you can hold your breath and put your face in a bowl of cold water or hold a cold pack or a Ziploc with cold water on your eyes and cheeks. You only hold it for about 30 seconds and do try to keep the water temperature above 50 degrees because you don't really want to have any sort of damage done during this process. And so we don't want you getting hypothermia or anything like that. I don't know if you can get hypothermia from sticking your face in ice water, but I imagine too cold is not great. So cold water, but not too cold. And that's the T, tip the temperature. Now the I in TIP stands for intense exercise. This is to calm your body down when it is revved up by an emotion. So you can engage in an intense exercise, even if it's only for a short while. You can expend your body's stored up energy by running, walking fast, jumping, play basketball, lift weights. And to be perfectly honest, I can just do a couple jumping jacks, just a few jumping jacks, and it gets my heart rate elevated enough for the purpose of this exercise. And remember, the purpose of this is to reduce the intensity of an uncomfortable emotion. So then the P, the third part of this exercise, is an option. So the P stands for paced breathing or paired muscle relaxation. So those are the two options that you have to bring your heart rate back down. Paced breathing is basically a diaphragmatic breath. And if you don't know what that is basically a big, deep belly breath where when you breathe in, your stomach expands. And as you breathe out, your stomach contracts. Go ahead and practice it once. Breathe in, allowing your stomach to expand, and exhale. Very good. So slow your pace of inhaling and exhaling way down, even slower than what I just gave as an example. You really want 5 to 6 breaths per minute, and that's easier said than done. One of the ways to do that is by breathing in for about 5 seconds and then exhaling for about 5 or 6 seconds. And if you want to make it a triangle breath, you probably could. All a triangle breath is where you breathe in for 5, hold for 5, exhale for 5. It's as simple as that. But the paced breathing is just breathing out more slowly than you breathe in, maybe 5 seconds in, and like I said, 6 or 7 seconds out. Back to the other P. Paced breathing is one, okay? Paired muscle relaxation is the other. So this is to calm down by pairing muscle relaxation with breathing out. The way I like to explain this is like classical conditioning. So there was this guy named Ivan Pavlov, and he did this thing with a dog where he paired, when he would bring the food to the dog drooled, obviously, because that's what dogs do. And so that is a natural response to a stimuli. Well, then he decided to pair the stimulus of the food with a stimulus of a bell. So he would ring a tuning fork, and that bell paired with the food would teach the dog, when you hear the bell, you're going to get the food. And so then the dog began to drool at just the sound of the bell. That's called a conditioned response. Now, the brain can be conditioned similar to how that dog was conditioned. And I'll give you the party trick real quick. So this is a party trick of classical conditioning. And it is basically where you turn off the lights, your eyes naturally dilate. That's just going to happen. Okay. So when your eyes dilate, you can add a clap. And that clap is paired with turning off the lights, which makes you naturally dilate in the eyes. Do that a few times, and then your eyes will naturally dilate at the sound of the clap. Weird, I know, but that's classical conditioning. So with paired muscle relaxation, what you're pairing is the physical sensation of relaxing, which can be forced, we'll get there. The physical sensation with relaxation combined with a word, and that word can just be relax, can also be release. And so when you are doing paired muscle relaxation, you're first going to tense your muscles. I know that seems weird. I'm going to get uncomfortable in order to get more comfortable. Yes. Okay. So as you inhale, you tense your muscle. And then as you exhale, you're relaxing and releasing, and then pair that word with either one of those words in your mind. So while breathing into your belly, that's how you want to breathe, by the way. You want to breathe through your belly as you're tensing, and then exhale. And if you can do this all through your nose, that's even better. And you can do it with small muscle groups or large muscle groups. You can start with your hands if you like, or you can start head to toe or toe to head and just go through each of those muscles, tensing with an inhale and exhaling with the physical relaxation and pairing it with that word, giving yourself that classical conditioning so that later on when you're not feeling so good and you think the word relax, then your brain is triggering your body to do what you have taught it, which is to physically relax. So that's kind of the cool thing about paired muscle relaxation, is it's a little bit like classical conditioning, in my opinion. So to review, this skill of TIP, to reduce extreme emotion fast, is T, tip the temperature, I, intense exercise, and P, paced breathing. So if you want to try it, cool. If not, that's cool too. I can say from personal experience that it absolutely works. And I don't even have to do the whole thing sometimes. Just changing the temperature is enough to reduce the intensity of an emotion. So I hope this was educational and amusing for everyone. It most certainly was for me. If you want to support the show, please remember to click the link on the website, or you can Cash App Katrina Dragon. And as always, I really do appreciate each and every one of you simply for existing.